quite a lot of the diseases that we face today, the so-called chronic diseases, I believe aren't actually diseases per se, but actually toxicities and malnutrition, toxic buildup of species inappropriate diet, food that we're not supposed to eat, that we weren't designed biologically to eat, and lack of appropriate species-specific nutrition, namely food that we are supposed to eat, that we are genetically designed to absorb and to fuel us the best. So you can break this down in a number of different ways, but when you look at the massive uptick in diseases around the world since the late 70s, mostly when we radically changed the way we ate, you can see that these so-called diseases have increased dramatically. And the obesity rates tripled, heart disease tripled, stroke rates tripled, cancer rates have tripled, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disorders, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, even developmental delays, and such as autism, miscarriages, all these sorts of things have increased exponentially. These things were quite rare before then. Now they're the only things we treat. Even heart disease is the most common killer around the world. That didn't exist before the 20th century. The first, if I remember correctly, the first description of atherosclerotic plaque and heart disease was described in the 1920s. That's brand new in the medical world. And people say, oh, well, it was probably there, just people didn't notice it. And it's like, well, no, actually, like you made your name as a doctor by finding something new and putting your name on it. There's a lot of things named after people in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, 1500s, even much before that. We have a vein in our brain called the vein of Galen. Galen was a Roman surgeon to Marcus Aurelius and a brilliant surgeon and doctor. And, his teachings, were used for 1500 years afterwards. So, these are not dumb people, and they do pay attention. So, heart disease was brand new in the 20th century. Really didn't see it before. And people attribute it to cholesterol and heart and saturated fat, but that wasn't true because we were always eating fat and cholesterol and so forth. We never had this disease. And as one researcher in the 70s said, how can an ancient diet cause a new disease? Because it is a new disease. And so that's one example of food causing disease. And we think about it in that terminology. Well, it's like, oh, if you eat fat and cholesterol, that will cause heart disease or diabetes or something like that. And they're right. There is something that we're eating that's causing that, but it's not fat and cholesterol. A number of things. It's usually sugar. It's the main thing. Sugar and carbohydrates and alcohol, the main things.